it performs the control operation of a computer. And the main memory, the purpose of main memory is to store the data, and input output is to move the data between computer and external environment. Okay, this is how a computer looks, or a top view of a computer. And the system interconnection, it's some mechanism provided by for communication among CPU, main memory, and IO. All the things are connected by system bus. What is a CPU? What a CPU contains? The CPU basically contains an arithmetic and logic unit, or a core, we can say. That's a core part of the computer. That's a part of the computer. It performs arithmetic and logical operations. So to perform an operation, we need an operands. So basically all the operands, we have to store it in a register. So we need a register and we need an ALU. And finally, this ALU and register, we have to control. So that is done by a control unit. So CPU is having register. There is an ALU. We call it as arithmetic and logic unit. It performs all arithmetic operations and the logic operations. Finally, there is a control unit. Okay. So what are all the arithmetic operations, you know? What are all the arithmetic operations? What are all the arithmetic operations?
Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division.
Modulo.
Yes. So what are all the logical operations? Logical operations. And
true or false.
Yes.
True or false?
Yes.
And operation or operation exclusive or. Okay. So all the things we will discuss. How to perform AND operation, how to perform OR operation. All the things we will discuss. Okay.
Sure.
So now we discussed about CPU. It's having a register, ALU, and control unit. All the three things are connected by internal bus. Now you can see the name is different. The name is the internal bus. And next is the, as I already told, control unit. It controls the operation of the CPU. Arithmetic and logic unit perform the data processing operation. Registers, it provide internal storage. Now CPU interconnection. Some mechanism for providing communication. Okay. And next we are going to discuss about control unit. What the control unit is doing is it's giving a sequencing logic, like how the instruction has to be executed, instruction 1, instruction 2, instruction 3, and what are all the control registers and how are they playing a role in the CPU. So all the things we will discuss. I'm just giving an overview of the organization of the computer. Okay, this is the first subtopic. It's like in the book, the first topic is computer organization and architecture. That is the first topic even for our syllabus also. And the next topic is structure and function. So that the function of the computer, we discussed 4 functions: processing, storage, transfer, and control unit. And we discuss about the structure of the computer. That is these 3 diagrams are the overall structure of a computer. First is the how computer looks. Next we discussed about how CPU looks. And finally we are discussing about control unit. Control unit, what it is doing is, it is sequencing the instructions, like which instruction has to execute after this, how many we'll discuss about what are all the stalls, like how many clock cycles it has to wait to get the operands ready, and when it has to perform the operation, after that where it has to store the result. All the things this control unit will direct to the processor. Okay, that's the reason it is called as control unit. It performs all the control operations. Okay. So this is a simplified view of a computer. Okay, and we can say that a traditional single processor computer. In a single processor computer, it looks like this. Now there is, I can say there is no single processor computer, and there are everywhere we are using multi-core processor, correct? And that is, we can say that that multi-core processor is ruling the world. Even the mobile phone what we are having is having octa-core, that is 8 cores. We can say that cores and processors are same. We can say that there are 8 processors are there for the small phone what we are using. Why we need a multi-core processor, or what's the need of a multi-core processor? Anyone? Or why people are running behind this multi-core processor? Anyone? What's the need of a multi-core processor? This is very, very interesting topic. Why world is running behind this multi-core processor?
From faster interaction.
Is okay, faster interaction. Next, how it is faster?
Multiple work at a time.
Multiple work at a time. Okay. Next. Next.
We can divide the work among the process.
Okay, you can divide the work, you can do multiple work. Yeah, fine. Next. But an important concept is missing here. Why we need a multi-core processor? What you are saying is these are all the advantages of multi-core processor. We will get more work done. We will get like speed, computation speed is more. All the things are fine. But why we need this? What's the reason behind this multi-core processor?
It increases the performance.
How? Correct. But how? Okay. So basically, this is the thing. Okay. In the early 2000, you would have heard in a meeting, the laptop got busted, and then so many bad things happened in the meeting. And that the hall got fired out, like so many things you would have heard, right? In the early 2000, in 2000 to 2005, so many problems happened with the laptop. Correct. Everywhere the laptop battery got heated, so it is like getting bursted. Like that, you would have heard so many things. So the problem is,
Power consumption.
yes, see the power, P stands for power. Okay, we'll write power only. So the power consumed by is given by capacitance multiplied by voltage square into frequency. Okay. So as what happens as the frequency increases, now the frequency was keep on increasing, correct? We would have 3.2 gigahertz, 3.4 gigahertz, 3.6 gigahertz. We didn't hear about the 4 gigahertz processor and all, correct? Why? What happens is when people started increasing frequency. Okay. So now basically the power consumed by our processor A, who is that? The power consumed by the processor is also increasing. And the problem becomes, it becomes too difficult to dissipate the power. So they kept the heat sink, cooling fan, and though they kept so many things to dissipate the heat, but finally it all results in failure. That is, laptop got overheated and it started burning. Okay, so this is because of the frequency increases, so the power is also increases, so it results in the it becomes too difficult to dissipate the heat generated by the power. Because of the power, if more power means more heat will generated, so it becomes too difficult to dissipate it. With all the cooling fan and all the things, it becomes difficult, so finally it results in a major failure. That's the reason for the laptop to get busted. So now we will, in the next class, we'll discuss about how the frequency is related to computer performance and all. But as of now, you have to remember this equation: power equal to capacitance in voltage square into frequency. As the frequency increases, power is also increases. Because of power, it generates more heat, and the heat we cannot dissipate it. So it started, our laptop started burning. Okay, so now what they thought is, what happened if we reduce the frequency? They started reducing the frequency. So that means that if frequency is reduces, power consumption will reduce. But the problem is, if the frequency is reducing, our performance will also go down. Okay, a more frequency will get more performance. Our performance and frequency are directly related. Frequency are directly related. You can understand, no, directly related. That means that if it increases, that also increase. Performance increases, that means that frequency is more. Okay, that way we can say that one. So now they are decreasing the frequency, means our performance will also go down. Okay, so what they thought is, they have to come out from this power problem. The only solution is they have to reduce the frequency. So they reduce the frequency level. Since they are reducing the frequency level, performance is going down. So to compensate it, they reduce the frequency and they increased the number of processor. Okay, inside a single chip, our computer generally looks like this. This is a single core computer. Okay, so we can write this is a single core computer or CPU. So now in a multi-core environment, what they did is they had come up with a processor like this, and in that they had come up with two CPUs. So now basically I can they had come up with the two CPUs. One is CPU 1 and another one is also CPU 2. So both the CPUs are residing inside the single chip. Okay, or you can write it as, instead of CPU, you can write it as core 1 and core 2. Both are residing inside the single chip and both are running in a low frequency. Okay, they are running in low frequency, but there are two CPUs to work on it. Okay, so basically it is like this: frequency is reduced, so power is reduced. So we are out from the power problem. Since frequency is reduced, performance is also coming down. So to manage or to get a better performance, we added more CPU to do the operation. Okay, so the multi-core processor is nothing but more than one core inside a single chip, or more than one processor inside a single chip. Okay, and why people are using multi-core processor is, first point is low power consumption. Okay, we can confidently say that multi-core processors are taking less power when compared to the single core processor. So point 1 is it is low power consumption. Point 2 is we are getting, as you all said, we are getting a high performance because two people are working. Like instead of in a duo core, two processor are working. In a quad core, four processor are working. In octa-core, 8 processors are working. So there are more number of processors are working, so we'll get better performance. So point one is low power, point two is high performance, and another thing is now this multi-core processor is pretty cheaper. Okay, it's less cost. Okay, cost wise also it is efficient. Okay, so these are all the 3 points that make multi-core processor to rule the world now: high performance, low cost, and low power consumption. Okay, that's a reason now people started using multi-core processor in this real world. Okay, all the embedded systems, like you when you checking the embedded systems also, it is all are using this multi-core processors. Okay, so now say any example for multi-core processor for the real world. Say any real world examples that's using this multi-core processor. Anyone? Real world example that uses multi-core processor.
Phone.
Phone. Yes. Yeah, all of our mobile phones are this, but is it it's an example. What I'm asking is real time system, in the sense embedded system. Yeah, phone is also correct. Any other example? Yes, phone is correct. Any other example? Cars. All the cars, particularly high end cars. If you take BMW or Benz or something, they are having more than 100 processors running inside it. Correct? No. All the cars. If you check their infotainment system, also it's having more processors. And when you check all the medical equipments, CT, MRI, all the things are having multi-core processors. Correct? No. Particularly when we are viewing the things like this is the recent that's research is going on, no, in biomedical domain. We can see the slices of the means in the brain. If you want to see inside whether it is a tumor or what it is, how people are detecting. For that also now still it's a very very important analysis domain, and the current research is also more research is happening in our college as well as in the world research community. Also people are working on it, like how to detect tumors in the early stage by using the data available or collected from the doctors, as well as we are combining our engineering technology with that to come up with a better solution to come to detect the tumors in the beginning. Okay, and recently so many professors in IISc who had given a talk regarding this in our to our university. Okay, so all the biomedical domains, they are using multi-core processor for their analysis. Okay, basically in a very simple way, if I want to say, most of the like and now currently now we are working on because of this COVID situation and all the things. Um, what to say, like more research is concentrated on this bio engineering domain. Correct. Both the engineers work with the doctors to come up with a solution. Okay, even in our college also so many like integrated research is going on in this domain. What the example I told is only one example, but there are so many good effort are going on that once you come to the college, we will show some prototype also we collected. They are not sharing their tools and all. We collected some screenshots from them to show to the students. So I'll share all the things with you that time. And another thing is like mostly in all the embedded systems or whatever the systems we are using now in the world, it's full of multi-core processors. Okay, so that's the reason in our lab also we are not studying an 8-bit or 4-bit or 16-bit microprocessor. We are going to study a professional assembly code that's a 32-bit. We can work on the 64-bit also. So it is not a problem. Our lab is to that level so that you can you can meet the industry standard without any issues, because people nowadays in the industry they want their employees to work with the 32-bit processor in the hardware domain. Since if you know this, if you are projecting this like I know a 32-bit assembly code, this itself a greater advantage for you. Okay, so all the codes that we designed also it is at par with the industry standard. That's what I want to convey to you now. So whatever we today we studied two things: computer architecture, and computer organization, and discussed about the structure and the function of a single processor computer. Okay, so these are all the two things. It's almost some 4 pages in the textbook. So I'll share the first page of the textbook and I'll look for the soft copy. If I'm having, I'll share with you all. Okay. So with this today we'll wind up and tomorrow we'll connect by 10:45. That is tomorrow. What time is our class? 11 or 10:45? Nanda.
25, ma'am.
10:45. 10:45 to 11:45. Tomorrow we will connect. Okay.
Ma'am, tomorrow there is no holiday, ma'am.
Tomorrow actually it is holiday, but computer architecture remains the same for almost all the families. If you take IBM mainframe from the 1970s till now, computer architecture is the same. Their organization is different. That is, computer components are getting added, but from a software programmer point of view, it is the same. This is for architecture and organization. And then we discussed about structure and the function of the computer. What are all the function of the computer? Data processing, data storage, data transfer and control are the function of the computer. And then we discussed about the structure of the computer. What is this? Basically, it is having CPU, memory, IO connected together by system bus. And CPU is having registers, arithmetic and logic unit, control unit connected together by the internal bus. And then we discussed about control unit. It is having sequencing logic as well as it's having control signals, and then control memory. All the things are interrelated. So till now we discussed about these things, and we started with what is multi-core processor. Why multi-core processor plays a role in the world? Because of its high performance, low cost and low power consumption. Okay. So these are all the topics that we discussed today. Any doubts in today's class? Okay. Thank you all. See you tomorrow. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.